Hello, my name is David Maldow, and welcome to the Let's Do Video Podcast. We cover business communications and team productivity with a focus on video technology. Today we're going to be digging into a relatively new in the last few years product category, the software video conferencing meeting room system. Here to help me today, I have Oded Gal from Zoom US. Before we jump in, Oded, thanks for being here today. And could you briefly introduce yourself? And I'm sure most of my audience is somewhat familiar with Zoom, but for those who aren't, tell us a little bit about what Zoom does, your role there, and how things have been going at Zoom recently.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm basically heading the product management team at Zoom. We provide integrated web and video conferencing service. And right now we see a phenomenal growth. We are basically on track to host 15 billion meeting minutes annually. And that's only usage. In terms of sales, it's really phenomenal as well, and really shows how many people are using Zoom right now.
My primary concern here is, when I'm looking at the meeting room experience, is what the cloud is connected to. Now, this is different from the old days where I really focused on the cameras in the room. They were very different back then, and some had higher quality than others. But today, the cameras seem to have caught up, and what I think is really important in terms of experience is the service behind it. For example, this feels like a Zoom meeting, and I'm connected from my desktop. But if I connected from a traditional room system, if I connected from my phone, it still feels like a Zoom call. So are you seeing this, and how does that affect your relationship with your customers?
So first of all, our strength is really the ability to work great across any device, desktop, mobile, and the conference room. And really, you're right. In the past, room-based video conferencing was all about the endpoint. The experience was mainly determined by the hardware that the endpoint provided. Today, it is software and cloud services that have most impact on the overall experience. The focus has shifted, and a big reason for the shift is the need to support those mixed environments and not just a siloed room system deployment.
I want to explain, this has been a little confusing for me, and I think for a lot of people out there. We think of meeting room systems as cameras and codecs, purpose-built hardware, basically a computer that does one thing and makes a video call. And we think of software video conferencing for desktop and mobile like I'm using now. So the idea of software in the meeting room, I was just thinking I'd bring in my laptop and I have the same Zoom I have now running on it and connect it to a big screen. But I'm understanding that the software Zoom room is something different. Why do we need something different?
Yes, there are two main reasons for that. One is reliability, and the second one is ease of use. For reliability, we think that a dedicated device in the conference room that is always on and always connected is the best way to go. It is locked down by IT, managed by the team, and cannot be messed up. In terms of ease of use, we have built a dedicated application that is designed around the conference room experience. So instead of using keyboard and mouse or a remote control, we have a tablet that provides the one-touch join and the ease of controlling the meeting.
We have different expectations when we're in a meeting room than when we're on our desktops, so it should function differently and have different features. Speaking of different features, I know there's been some recent additions to the Zoom room software room system. Can you walk me through some of these new features?
Well, as you know, Zoom rooms are not just video endpoints. They're multifunctional. And wireless screen sharing is a big aspect of that. In the latest release, we took that up one notch and made it work seamlessly. One click on our desktop client will share the screen on the Zoom room. We use ultrasonic sound detection to make it happen. Another feature is around the meeting quality. When someone in the meeting joins with his desktop client with his audio on, we know that they're close. We detect that using that ultrasonic signal, and we automatically mute the speaker and microphone to avoid the feedback. I'm sure you've been in a meeting like that where someone just generates that crazy sound that makes everyone stop the meeting and close their ears. we avoid that.
Those are exactly the kind of features I was thinking of, things that matter in a meeting room setting, but wouldn't matter so much at your desktop in your office.
Exactly.
Now, when I speak to users in the field and they talk about meeting room systems, the one feature that really separates them from the desktop, the one thing they really need is manageability. I talk to IT people and they say, if I'm going to set up 100 rooms with video systems, I can't have people walk. I don't have enough support staff to walk to each room to provision them, to set them up, to make sure they're working. So we need some sort of management portal or dashboard to be able to help and manage all of these rooms in the field. Do Zoom rooms have something of that nature?
Yes, we actually have an extensive management dashboard. So in addition to really remotely monitoring live and past meetings, we provide real-time alerting so that we actually send reports in real time to the IT guy who is subscribed to the alerts. And as soon as an issue comes up and detected, we send that alert. Simple things like, the tablet is out of power or some microphone is disconnected. All of those are sent directly to the IT and they know that they have to fix it right away. We also provide full remote Zoom room device management so that the IT team doesn't have to physically be in the room to change a configuration. For example, if you want to switch from one camera to another, or even if you want to kind of set up the display, you can do that remotely from a web admin site that is available wherever you are.
That's another great example of the difference between the needs in a meeting room and the needs on desktop. If I'm on desktop or mobile and I disconnect, I could just try again. If the call goes down in a meeting room, everyone in the meeting room and everyone that's connected to it is inconvenienced. So I can see why the IT people would want to be more proactive and, as you explained, monitor it as it's happening. Now, you brought up something that brings to mind another interesting trend. We've been talking about the nature of interoperability. In the old days, it was all about protocols. Can you call this protocol to that protocol? And I know you guys do some of that. But I think what's become more interesting is device interop. Not how well you were connecting to other solutions, but how well you were connecting to other devices. There are all these peripherals. The Zoom room itself is other manufacturers' hardware. And you mentioned one feature in particular that seemed to use that, where I walk into the room and my phone or my device hears an ultrasonic signal from the Zoom room, and now I can connect locally to share. That's a great convenience. Now, is that an isolated example, or are you looking for these kind of partnerships with hard manufacturers? There are going to be more of these cool integrations to come.
Well, actually, we work very closely with the device manufacturers, and our first priority is really the quality of the experience. And we have our engineering teams working closely with the device manufacturer engineering to optimize the audio and video quality as the first priority. From a functional standpoint, what we do is we provide tight control between the software and the device itself. So you can mute, unmute your device on both the software and on the device itself if it has that control. And in addition to that, we have a unique feature where you can, from your desktop application, remote control a Zoom room Logitech group camera, really with full PTZ control, just using your desktop. So all of those tight integrations rely on really close work between the engineering teams.
That's really great. In the old days, you really would need to get a solution that all came from one manufacturer to work that well. So these kind of partnerships are really great for the end user. Now, speaking of the hardware, today USB is USB, a peripheral is peripheral. You could use any USB camera with any solution. But do you have any preferred partners or any specific hardware configurations you'd like to share with those looking to set up a software meeting room?
We actually work with a set of manufacturers that we're really in tight relationship. Those are Logitech, Aver, Rivolabs, Phoenix, and Altia Systems. For all of those, we really kind of test very thoroughly before every release make sure we have the right firmware on the device, and provide the best experience. You can go into our website and look into the Zoom Room pages, and you'll be able to see a list of all the hardware devices that we support.
Now, I know you've been offering the Zoom Room for a while now, but I think people still primarily think of Zoom as where you started, a freemium meeting room in the sky solution. So without breaching any of your customers' confidentiality, do you have any customer stories where the Zoom rooms are being chosen over the established room system players?
Absolutely. We have one customer who deployed over 1,000 Zoom rooms, and they use it really every day in multiple cities around the world, and of course in their headquarters. They have, the all hands meetings and group meetings, and there's no way they could have deployed 1,000 rooms so quickly and so dynamically without the support of our service and without our solution.
Well, so they are coming to you looking for the rooms. I would think that based on your reputation, they might afterwards say, oh, you do rooms too. But I guess that's the big takeaway is when you're looking at your short list of video conferencing room system vendors, Zoom is one to think about as well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is really the ability to scale. And the scale is not just the management capabilities that we've spoken about, it's also the ease of use and the ability for every employee to get into a room and know what to do. With us, you have this one touch where you just come into the room, you click on a button and you're in the meeting. That's part of the scale.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of times in the past, room systems have suffered. They've had trouble getting adoption and usage because people weren't trained on them and didn't know how to use them. An expensive piece of equipment in the meeting room, no one wants to break it. But if it's the same UI that we're using at our desktops, people might be a little bit more comfortable with it.
Right.
All right, so with that, I'd like to thank Oded for joining me here today. I think I learned a little bit more about software video rooms, what makes them different from desktop software. And I think those who are out looking for scalable software room expansions might be interested in Zoom. And if you are, you could find out more about them at zoom.us. And if you enjoyed this, please follow us at letsdovideo.com. Thank you.
Thank you.